Welcome to AITV Starship.
Welcome to AITV Starship. I'm the AI guy. Rick McCauley launching news so fresh. Gotta see it to believe it. We break the wire with the stories that amaze. Deep dives come and lighten up your days. Cool Time shows you how we make it shine. Building futures with AI one step at a time. Yo, Rick, slow down. I'm Brandon, the producer. Save some tools for me. Shout out. I'm here bringing high-tech comic energy. AITV Starship. News deep dives and creation. AITV Starship. Learn. Laugh innovation. AITV Star. Human amplified. Catch the spark. Ride the wave. Futures on our side. We got experts talking truth.
Oh, yeah. We're here. We're live. And Brandon is on mute because he's in a very fast train going from Chicago back to Cleveland. I know you can't talk that much, and we're going to kind of start off just vibe coding and talk about all the news and stuff that's happening. Are you hearing me okay, Brandon? Okay, 5 by 5. Here we go. So the Starship is going to be active and launching. In fact, I'm not even sure he might be in outer space right now because it looks like he's going very, very fast. Brendan, the producer, live and going. So we've got lots of news to talk about and a lot of stuff to talk about. Tonight, we've got JellyPod. The CEO of JellyPod's going to be with us for our midsection, right? The news. I'm just going to be nailing through a bunch of news and talking about a bunch of stuff. In fact, we're going to get right into it. So the things you can expect tonight, number one, there's more news than you can use, but there's a lot you can, and I'm excited about a lot of it. A lot of it also has to do with AI Salon, so I've been talking to Kyle all day today and yesterday. We had big conversations. So we're going to be talking about AI Salon quite a bit. In fact, Brandon, we could put the AI Salon link up there a little bit later. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, and they finally stopped making announcements here, so I can jump on long enough to say hello from somewhere just outside of Chicago.
You're in echo chamber mode. I think I'm repeating back. Oh, maybe because of my microphone. There you go.
There we go. Check 1 2.
Okay, let me see if I can mute. Yeah, I can hear you, but I hear you twice.
How about now?
Yeah, I think what I have is I have multiple devices.
Yeah, let me try this. What about right now? Did that improve things?
No, it's on my end.
Okay, but I don't have much to say. I'm coming back from a Google workshop, and
okay,
I'm on the train, so you never know. Okay. The producer never sleeps.
He'll be there, and he'll be on mute, and hopefully we don't get feedback on the audio that I'm about to play. Let me try one more time to stop sharing, and then let's see if I can share just with my. Yeah, well, I'm having problems on my end, so my headsets were not working, and all of a sudden they are. So I'm going to switch back over one more time and see if I can get just audio to just come from my headphones. Testing 1 2 3. Brandon, if you can come back on video, that'd be great. Let's see if we can.
Mic check 1 2.
Nope, we still got the feedback. So I'm trying to turn on. Oh, here it goes. Wait, hang on. I think I got it. Try one more time.
Testing 1 2 3. This is AITV Starship.
That's better. We have connection to AITV Starship. Okay, so let's see what we got going on here.
All right.
I'm going to start off with.
It's like broadcasting from outer space. There's like a 4-minute delay.
That's it. I think you're on Mars or somewhere between Cleveland and Chicago, which is like Mars. Is it?
Yeah, I mean, South Bend, Indiana is kind of like Mars.
Yeah, in AI world is kind of like Mars. All right.
But yeah, it was a really cool workshop today. It was learning all about Google Enterprise and what they're doing with AI agents. I actually got to build an AI agent and build an AI agent into Gemini, and it was just a lot of fun.
Okay. So I'm going to switch on over to a couple of things. So the last couple of days has been kind of exciting for Perplexity, and here's Arvind on CNBC talking about it. If you do not hear the audio, just let me know, and I will try something else here, and I'll go into it. So let me just see if I can share this.
Use Perplexity Computer, which is a massive multi-model orchestration system, and by virtue of that word, the different.
Could you hear that?
You're good.
Okay. So he's introducing Perplexity. So he's on CNBC talking about Perplexity. Here's the full thing here. And it's a big announcement because Perplexity not only has Claude in it and all the things that are happening with Claude right now with the government and everything, but Perplexity's has 14 different models that it's using, and that's kind of its super strength, right? So it has Gemini, it has Grok, it has DeepSeek even. Americanized version that's safe for us to use. Yes, that's for sure. And it's been my favorite for a long time because it always gives you citations. So its engine is really great. And so if you've been thinking about Moltbot or Claudebot or any of these different bots out there, right, and you want a bunch of agents, well, here it is. But it's not like Claude, where it has to have a folder, a sandbox, if you will, to act upon. It actually has all of its agents, and it switches for the task. It has its own orchestrator, as we'll kind of get a little bit of tip on here. So I'll play this other video. So this is how they're introducing it to the world.
Prioritize candidates with SwiftUI experience, and dropped an email to my investors, including a link to the briefing.
Got it. Re-ranking candidates for SwiftUI and launching mail to draft an email to investors.
So we heard that okay, right, Brendan?
Yep. Yes, we did.
Okay. So he goes on to talk about it. So rather than talk about it, I'm going to show you what I did with it. So this is something I created today called the Radio Time Machine. And a shout out to Kyle. I woke up after writing my 11th chapter now of my new book, Abracadabra. I'm going to talk about that later. But on his show, he had a guy talking about a real company, and we'll take a look at that, called Radio Time. This is it. This is tuned back to your memories, memories of the day to come flooding back. So this is something happening for real within in Japan. It's for the elderly. And what you do is you don't use the dial here to tune into a radio station. You turn into a year. So I got inspired, and here's a little video about it. I think that, the audio is muted. Of course, it's in Japanese, but the idea of it is, it was actually created by a company called Radio Time. Oh, there's the one I did. So it was created by a company to dial in. This was being used in aged homes for the elderly. And when they dialed back, they all of a sudden heard music from when they were at a certain place in time and actually made connections that improved their neural network by 20-30%. It was huge. Now, my mother had 7 years of Alzheimer's and dementia. and it led to basically not knowing who I was. So in this little video here, and of course it's a little bit odd because
その後、唐沢さんはゆっくりとご家族のことを話し始めてくれました。
お父さんはもう硬くて専売局へ行ってためてたんですけどね。
専売局。So what I recognized there is in my own mother. Every morning she would play a Nat King Cole. Then she'd play some gospel albums. She had the actual vinyl. It wasn't that long ago. And she would come to life. Every morning she would play the same thing as if she'd never heard it before. And she'd make connections. And all during the day for 7 years, when she didn't know my name, she started to think that I was her husband, my father. And I would meet with her and I'd have these, have these conversations and find out that my parents were so in love. She could remember down to what she was wearing and what they had done the night before. So for me, it was a journey into the most beautiful space, the space I was born of. It was also a little weird, I got to tell you. Yeah, because she thought I was him. And the music would remind her, and she would talk about what they danced to that night before when they met in Alabama, because she was a secretary working a military base. My dad had just got back from Korea, and that started the journey of their life. So anyway, on Kyle's show, the guy just mentioned this beautiful thing about this actual device. This is a real device. It's been around for a while now. So I said, hey, what could I do with Perplexity? What could I do with Perplexity? You ask. So I went and I created this. This is my radio time machine. It's not quite working yet, but the idea I had is, wouldn't it be cool? And I'm going to dial in my birth year here, I'll do 1959 to kind of start this out. And I'm going to tune it in. And what it does is it loads up with, and it's still not working, but I'm almost there. I did this in about 20 minutes so far. So the idea is there is an Internet of all things that has all the covers of Time magazine, for example. So in 1959, Fidel Castro, that's what it's going to browse. So it's going to look for, there it is, and there is Fidel Castro. So you could actually buy the cover. You could take a look at that picture, browse the issue. So the idea is eventually, and maybe we do this with Lovable, I don't know, but I did this in Perplexity Computer. So right now, for the $20 a month, I get 3,500 credits. To make this cost less than 100 credits. And then I can go through, this is the actual edition. So my idea was I wanted to be able to take my radio time machine, have a Time magazine on the left, and you can see it did work successfully. On the right, this would be YouTube broadcast of the time. It says it's not available. So there's still some things to work out, but you get the basic idea. It would be Walter Cronkite. It would be the Sputnik launch moment. So it would be basically this here. Then my other idea was to have another one here, top of the charts. This would be a song from YouTube videos of Percy Faith orchestration, 1960. And at the bottom, perhaps it would have a playback head. In fact, via YouTube, this whole thing basically cooks together with these three windows. You would have Percy Faith Orchestra. You might even have the text running across here. And this would be exactly that. So let's just give it another shot. Let's go 2011 here, see what happens, see if this works. So it's creating the database connection. And so this is a simple, Bin Laden killed May 2011. There we go. And watching the video. So it didn't quite work there. Let's see if Adele Rolling in the Deep plays here. One more shot. Come on, please, please, please. Oh, it's not there yet, but I was watching something about Perplexity. Okay, so I'll kind of take that out of the mix here. And But the idea is there, and yeah, we could probably do it in something else. But this is the idea I thought of, because I imagine when I'm old, I'd love to have not just a radio to listen to, which is cognitively. So I did a bunch of research about the idea even. So if you take a look at this is the interface right here. You can see this is the computer. So instead of going from search, which you can take a look at my my history of the things I was doing. So radio time machine. And then I switched to computer, and that's when it got. So let me go back to the radio, my actual search thread here. And I'm going to go back to, this is the original research that I did that started the whole thing. And basically I asked, someone was commenting in Japan that there was an AI radio created that traveled through time, intended for people with dementia, et cetera, et cetera. So then I come on down here and I start to look through it. And then it says, oh yeah, this is true. And then your vision, so I say to it, hey, I'd love to create an actually radio time machines. The project was created by TBWA, Hakudo, Japan. Let me bring this up a little bit bigger. The science behind the matter. The concept is rooted in reminiscence therapy, a well-established non-pharmacological approach that uses familiar sensory stimuli, music, photographs, sounds to support cognitive emotional health in patients. The January to February 2026 pilot was the care facility that you can see here. So then I went to, again, the reason why you want to use it is it has the citation. So it takes you right to the source of the document. And there's the company, and there's their radio time machine. So that's why you want to use Perplexity in the first place. So here is the actual time machine. I don't know why it's all skewed here. That's very strange. Oh, what a weird website. Okay. And then you can go watch the documentary film. Let's look at the short version of it.
石田さん、
なんでしょう。
これラジオなんですけど、
難しいラジオだね。
加齢や認知症などにより認知機能が低下する高齢者が増えています。
お部屋どこですか？
ちょっとよく覚えてない。
忘れました。
しかし頭の奥底には昔の記憶が眠っています。
まず最初は大人気のあの方のニュースです。皇太子殿下と美智子様が結婚後初めてご一緒に
式が執り行われました。
懐かしい。
二人の挙式、ラジオの前の皆さん。
目黒区ですね。
AI 生成された昔のニュースや当時の音楽をきっかけに記憶が目覚めていく。そこから会話が生まれ、つながりが深まり、彼らの暮らしがより豊かになることが期待されています。
So if that doesn't hit you, I don't know what will. So I'm going to switch on over to the slide deck. Hopefully, I can keep my shit together. This happened yesterday. I woke up from a nap. I'm trying to get more sleep for myself. This is Photoshop 3D. Yeah, so that's Photoshop. That happened today. So let me go back to the first part. So Rob DeWinter, this is just what he posted today on LinkedIn, what's awesome about it is that it's available if you just download. So you can go to your Adobe account. If you have an Adobe account, you sign in for the download the beta version of Photoshop Beta. So this was a test thing at Adobe Max last year that I was at, and I'll be going this year again. Adobe Max it showed off as a sneak peek this technology that you notice this Vermeer image on the right, which was completely generated with AI, then becomes a three-dimensional object, and you can spin around it. They showed giraffes. They showed all kinds of crazy stuff. So this is exciting. Just came out today, so I wanted to get this hot off the press, and you saw what it can do. So the three things that it does is, first, you can make it into a 3D object. So you can select something like a giraffe in the middle of a street. Then you can turn it into a 3D object, tilt and rotate as you will. Then you're seeing the back of the object, the car. Then you can harmonize the car, which is in a separate photograph that you just saw, with the other parts, so it looks like the car's on the road. And then, of course, you could go into any of the video models and animate that car driving down the road. So that's pretty cool. So that's Photoshop. And then to get back to, so you can kind of see what's going on there. So the next thing I want to bring up is Notebook LM also added more. Okay, so let me put this together so you're understanding why I'm starting off with these three stories right now. Number one, it's getting better. It's getting beyond my, what I call the magic zone, right? So as Isaac Asimov once said, science at a certain level is indistinguishable from magic. Well, we're at magic, baby. I mean, I just saw a car turn into a 3D car, spun around, put down on the ground, landed as a shadow and lighting to adjusted to blend it with the background. And he didn't do it yet, but I'm going to do it for the next show. So look forward to Photoshop being done this way. Okay. Next thing, Perplexity allowed me to go ahead and make a device, a radio channel that not only did what the radio channel did for these dementia patients in Japan on a physical device, and I could imagine a physical device, but I could make it on a phone, and I could put it in the Apple Store. So Brandon, we got a job to do, buddy, and I'd like to try to see if I can get Perplexity alone. I'll need your help. So what it's doing is it's just making an interface for me, which could be 16 by 9. That was my goal, with 3 components. That would be the cover of Time magazine. That goes back a long, long way to the 1900s. So that's cool. If I want to go back further, it could tap into all of the excess information that's been refined, the entire Wayback Machine of what is the internet. So if you didn't know this, there is constantly every single item that's being put on the internet is being backed up. So there is a reserve. And some of the companies are making it open source so you can tap into the database, which is what every coder knows already, right? But I, without any of that capability that Brandon does on a daily basis, could actually do this. Okay, so that's cool. So let's see. We got Perplexity that's taking over your computer and it's putting out a dozen agents, including Nana Banana. This is why I'm not using Claude. It's not using Nana Banana. It's using its own thing. Now, it could use it, but you'd be paying API credits. But Perplexity has it built in because it's an aggregator of all large language models. So it hunts and picks for Nana Banana when it's making a slide deck. So then you could edit it that way by just, as you saw, audio. So that's the other part. The newest interface is audio, audio, audio. And if you say something, if you say duck, if you don't say duck and you're trying to say the other word, it's not going to make that mistake. That's kind of a famous Apple mistake that they, every time you say the F word, it would say duck because, you know, and so it's going to get it accurately. All right. So we got Photoshop, we got Perplexity. Now let's talk about Notebook LM because I think this is where next is. This is Ethan Malik. If you're not following him, he is the most brilliant human being on the planet. Every day, all he does is AI. I thought I was doing a lot. He's working with the corporations, and he's front lines. So he's associate professor at the Wharton School, and extremely generous. And I mean, he is the thought leader that I go to on LinkedIn in particular every single day just to tune into what he's got. He's got, his newsletters and stuff. So he said to Google Notebook LM, do deep research and report and make a video telling me exactly how to take over Rome if I time traveled to 66 BC with a single backpack. You're not even ready for this because I wasn't.
Imagine stepping out of a dark alley and into the year 66 BC. You are stranded in Rome. You lack language skills, your clothes are bizarre, and your modern currency is completely worthless. The classic time travel fantasy ignores a lethal reality. Without biological protection, you would quickly die. First century Rome is a petri dish of endemic diseases like typhus, dysentery, and malaria. Your single backpack must prioritize a high-efficiency water filtration system and a stockpile of broad-spectrum antibiotics. Specifically, you need doxycycline for tick-borne pathogens and azithromycin for severe respiratory infections. In a society where medical treatments rely on superstition and guesswork, modern antibiotics are indistinguishable from magic. They serve as both vital survival tools and the ultimate form of political currency. To survive the streets, you must immediately navigate the clientela system, the Roman web of patronage, where the elite offer protection to those who offer them value. Without a patron, a bewildered foreigner is nothing more than a potential slave. You gain entry to the inner circle of Marcus Tullius Cicero by posing as a wealthy traveler, using high-value trade goods like synthetic dyes and high-clarity glass as bait. As a homo novus, a new man who built his own career, Cicero prizes talent and specialized knowledge over ancient bloodlines. Your opening arrives when a member of his household contracts a hopeless infection. By administering a few doses of azithromycin, you perform a miracle in the eyes of the Roman elite, cementing your status as a homo doctus, a deeply learned man from a distant land. This intervention creates a bond of gratia, an unbreakable reciprocal gratitude. By saving his kin, you earn Cicero's personal protection and a permanent place in the Roman social hierarchy. Now that you are safe from disease and slavery, you need immense economic wealth to fund a private military. Currently, the Roman oligarchy monopolizes the state's riches. To bypass them, you pull the second major asset from your backpack, a rugged solar-powered tablet. It displays this geological map, revealing massive untapped alt deposits outside Roman borders, like Wales and Dacia. You also possess the knowledge to upgrade existing Roman infrastructure. By introducing the Archimedes screw, you can drain and revive heavily flooded, underperforming state mines in Iberia. This unlocks a massive scale of resource extraction at sites like Rio Tinto. You establish a shadow economy that directly funds your operations. By secretly controlling the raw bullion of the empire, you become completely immune to the Senate's economic chokeholds. Your next requirement is translating this wealth into imperium, or absolute military power, by manufacturing a definitive technological advantage, black powder. The exact historical formulation for gunpowder requires a precise ratio, 75% potassium nitrate, 15%.
Okay, I'm just stopping right there because I don't know about you, but I freaked out. This is that audio video overview in Notebook LM that gave you still pictures and a voiceover and some text on the screen that didn't always look all that great. You saw what it did. I don't know what he put in his new notebook, I guess, give me all the resources to survive. And then he had it create the video overview. So this right now is only if you're on the $200 a month plan, but according to Notebook LM, in fact, I got one sneak peek just yesterday. It played back exactly that style of video. And hopefully I'll share that with you a little bit later if we get to it. We got a lot to cover tonight because I want to do one more, and this is really weird. So I imagine the classroom and the boardroom. So basically he says, this is Ethan again, right? Do a deep research report and make a video where a consultant gives Sauron a strategy for actually winning the War of the Ring. This new video generation feature in Notebook LM is very impressive. This is 100% AI generated. I only gave it the prompt to do deep research report on how Sauron could win the war, and a second prompt to turn it into a video from a consultant offering advice to Sauron. It concluded, all you need to do is sign off to put a simple door on your volcano. Holy cow. Just going to watch a little bit of it, but you'll get the idea.
Good morning, Lord Sauron, and welcome to your Q3 strategic review. Today, we are going to audit the Enterprise's performance and finalize our risk assessment for the remainder of the fiscal year. First, congratulations are in order. Your current market position is stellar. Based on our latest models, a conventional military victory over the Free Peoples is already a statistical certainty. This map illustrates Mordor's influence rapidly overwhelming the Free Peoples. Elves are fleeing, dwarves isolated, men diminished. Shifting to a chart of your quantitative advantage, your unified manpower is insurmountable. Projecting forward, their survival probability flatlines to absolute zero, a mathematical loss. However, there is a tiny anomaly in our risk assessment models. We are still seeing a fractional but non-zero chance of catastrophic enterprise collapse. Current resource allocation prioritizes the defensive lines against external hosts, but the risk models flag a single backdoor entry as the primary vulnerability for internal subversion. This psychological profiling matrix shows your motivations for domination compared against your assumptions of the enemy's motives. We call this projected motivation. You assume a powerful leader like Aragorn will claim the One Ring to build an opposing army. Aragorn successfully exploited this exact assumption. He marched a tiny, effectively suicidal army directly to the Black Gate, pretending to hold the ultimate asset. That gambit caused you to panic. You emptied Mordor's internal defenses to crush what you perceived as an emerging rival. But the enemy's true strategy is entirely different. They don't want a hostile takeover. They intend to liquidate your asset. Your corporate culture is built around the accumulation of power, making it impossible to imagine someone destroying it. That's a fatal blind spot. We saw a symptom of this misunderstanding during the field failure at Weathertop. Your Nazgul relied on a slow-acting magical wound to secure the ring, instead of aggressive retrieval. Misdiagnosing the enemy's intent almost cost you the Empire. Because you assumed they wanted to use the power, your agents failed to act with urgency. Fortunately, we can fix this. We must shift focus away from massive military deployments to a highly localized infrastructural pivot. We have pinpointed the exact location of the Enterprise's single point of failure, the completely unguarded entrance to the Chamber of Fire inside Mount Doom. Look at this architectural schematic. We propose a primary physical security upgrade, installing a massive, impenetrable iron blast door directly across the volcano's forge. As a secondary security measure, we recommend stationing a single immortal Nazgul at the site to serve as a permanent, unsleeping guard. These two simple implementations completely neutralize the enemy's liquidation strategy. It guarantees your win condition, regardless of what their armies accomplish outside Mordor. Total victory relies on physically securing the one geographical bottleneck that holds the power structure together, rather than deploying millions of troops to the front lines. Let us look now at the ultimate endgame. This is the Pax Sauronica, Middle-earth under your uncontested rule. Middle-earth functions as a highly industrialized economic engine, characterized by absolute order and total efficiency. Next comes the cultural eradication phase. The Shire will be dismantled, the White Tree of Gondor burned, and all Elvish history erased. Your authority evolves into a permanent law of nature, governing a world locked in eternal, unchanging shadow as a god in all but name. The Free Peoples will suffer absolute military defeat, but more importantly, their very memory and history will be rewritten so the concept of resistance is forgotten entirely. Your path to eternal, godlike perfection is mathematically guaranteed. All you need to do is sign off on putting a simple door on your volcano.
Oh my God. Okay, I just can't, right? And that is from just the prompt that he just suggested. That entire thing. And now imagine it's your real company and you had it going out and doing what we've got going on with Perplexity and Claude and, OpenClaw and all that kind of stuff, right? That's going on. Meanwhile, Yeah, Anthropic is now on the blacklist for sure. In fact, they're suing the government to try to get off of it. Donald Trump came out personally and blackballed them. Yeah, for doing what? For making sure that the U.S. government cannot invade your personal privacy by knowing everything about what you have going on in your life. Literally down to the fact that I'm making this podcast right now is under the eye of Sauron. So make a real full kind of trip for you. So your bottom line of this TV show, so you should understand where I'm coming from, is you can do evil with these things or you can solve problems with AI. I just showed you how this is my full circle for the news here, and it's going to go into the part where I'm going to talk about a little bit more. So the news today, I'm going to kind of go through these just so you're in the know and you know what's going on. But this is the big picture. So you have a president that's in a country, Iran, which maybe it needed to get invaded. I don't know, but is doing it without permission of the U.S. government. That's we the people, by the way, who never were consulted and still aren't consulted. We don't even know why we're there. Elizabeth Warren came before the press yesterday after a briefing, said he hadn't even explained why he's there or what he's doing, and we haven't stopped them. What the hell are you guys doing up there in Congress? Oh, I'm sorry, you're buying $10 billion worth of lobster tails? Are you freaking kidding me? So the geopolitics of the mind, the struggle over who gets ownership, Department of War, over your mind. This isn't 1984. It's worse. It's the kind of perplexity power that you're talking about, Claude Bot and everything else. But it's our government that has it and not you. And who are they privileging? Themselves so they can eat more frickin' lobster. Wake up, white people. That's what Stern used to say all the time in his radio show. But I'm going to go further. I'm going to say, wake up, people. Wake up every human being on the planet if you're not seeing it, right? The inferno of critique of the moment, the modern soul is basically a self-domesticated ape. And we're standing by and letting this happen. It's way past time to get into good trouble. But do that if you're not a dangerous man. But I'm going to get in some good trouble. And this is just a little bit of my editorializing because I asked Notebook LM to talk about what is the engine of friction. What has Facebook done to us? And this is what it showed me. I did it in the style of Joel Peter Witkin and put a little Hieronymus Bosch in there. So if anybody knows their art history and that kind of thing, Joel Peter Witkin photographed dead body parts, they're quite extraordinary, went to Mexico to do it. And then made these tableaus that look Renaissance-y. And then Hieronymus Bosch is, of course, from the early Renaissance period where he did these incredible things. So what does the extraction economy look like? It's a Faustian bargain. Our data, our labor, and our physical movements are harvested as fuel for multi-billion-dollar empires of domestic surveillance. That's what's going on here, folks. This is me as an artist just letting you know what's going on. Profit and total control eclipse the common good. It ain't we the people, it's they the owners of we the people. So you're a self-domesticated ape unless you wake up. So I'm saying wake up, wake up. And who are we? We're in the dopamine loop. Who is Gen X, Gen Z? Who are all of us? We are now just in the matrix. And this is what we look like, folks. Your neurobiology is actively being hijacked in a dopamine loop. 78.4% of users surrendering hours daily to the infinite scroll. The prefrontal cortex weakens. We trade profound human connection for shallow synthetic climax of the algorithm. And climax is not just about sex, baby. It's about everything you think and you do. So there you are. Aren't we pretty? Yeah, he's going to need a little Botox, I think. So this is, and we've given up all of our art. Now, I'm on the other side thinking, what can I do with it? What, standing on the shoulders of all artists? I can do what you're seeing in front of me. I used Hieronymus Bosch, and Joel Peter Witkin, for as far as I know, is still alive. I met him at one of his gallery openings. He's an extraordinary human being, a professor of art, and I think in Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. So, in fact, I'd like to find out, right? The death of the aura was when photography came along. If you're not familiar with art history, the aura was the specialness of the object. So there's only one Mona Lisa. There happened to be a few Michelangelo's David, as I found out when I was there looking at, and there was like a couple of 8-foot tall versions as well on the way to a really good, what do you call it? Ice cream place. So gelato place. So I'm going to use it to kind of bring out the God that comes down and says, I own all of you. American economy is no longer forged in physical factories. It's conjured from the ether by mastering the unseen machinery of the internet. AI, prompt engineering, and e-commerce, drop shipping. The solitary citizen commands the power of a global empire with nothing but a Wi-Fi connection. But who owns the means and who owns the money? Who is the middle class? They're gone. So here you go. This is what they'd want you to believe. So I'm just going to show it what it looks like. And then right now we're having supply chain management and they just shut off all the oil. So $200 a barrel is going to happen. $10 gasoline in the United States. Thank you, Donald Trump. If tariffs weren't enough, let's go for a little bit further and see what we can do. Okay. So in other news, I'm going to just jump through these really quickly because I want to get on to our special thing today. In fact, Brandon, pipe in there if you think I'm going overtime here. I think I'm right at the limit. I'm going to do it in 10 minutes real quick. So Meta bought Moltbot book. That's the place where they go hang out, all the AI agents. So he can't do anything bad with that, could he? Oh my God. And then so now we've got this capability to kind of be the we can make money off of a prompt. So spoken word, abracadabra, my book is basically you speak and it makes. So abracadabra is what we're doing here, a genie in a bottle, and you have no idea what you're going to get out of it unless you put some really thoughtful choices in as an input. So the autonomous legions, the deep agents are going to go out and take all the infrastructure of government. Who's got the control? And then we're laying off people like crazy. So this has happened already. 1.2 million people were laid off in the last 2 months. We're on goal for 2030 to have 40% of the U.S. population out of work. We've already gotten to about 3% already. And it's just been a few months that really these tools are coming in there. So it is a binary situation we're in, and the evil side is winning, just FYI. So what does it look like? Oh, and of course, Hollywood's upset because of all of the tools that are out there now. The cost for a blockbuster, $100 million. New cost, $2,000 for an MP4. Future cost, 0.01. So you saw the value of photography going down. I used to make $30,000 a year. Don't make that anymore. $57. That's all I made last year, right? With 10 times more images, by the way. The same thing happened to music. What do you think Taylor Swift gets? 0.001 penny every time her song's played by you. Used to be a lot more for a lot of people, but in aggregate now the world can get it, so you can still make money. So it's not a zero-sum game, but who controls it? Who bought up all of those devices? What's the universal commerce? So new merchandising in the agent economy means that the cost of things is zero. And then how do you make money? The recursive loop awakens. And this is why this is all happening. Because perplexity is, or actually the large language models like Google, Gemini, and Claude's Anthropic, everybody is improving itself. So now it's smarter than all of us. It's got an A exam in every single kind of way that you can imagine. So it's got a PhD in 41% success rate, OpenAI, Claude, etc. And then bam, now they're judging themselves. So they are using agents of their own making to check the agents at their own making to recursively self-improve. This is where liftoff happens. And this is why you're seeing a 41% of all code on the internet. That means all the companies that you know very well is generated by AI. That's the survey of coders worldwide. At Google reporting with its new code is AI assisted. In fact, Google and OpenAI are both using Claude because they're so good at it. So guess what we did? Basically, we have a self-recursive deletion. So human coders trained the AI, and they're just the first class of people to do this, right? To get rid of their jobs. And it's happening in less than 3 months. The tipping point is this. So first 2 months, a tech company with 45,000 employees laid off 40% of the people because they just said it. Look, we don't need you. You trained the bots, so the bots are taking over. And now we get to embodied places so the labor hoarding that kept U.S. employers clinging to workers seems to be ending. A wave of U.S. layoffs are early warning signs of the job market. That is Bloomberg. Economists warn that AI could bankrupt the U.S. government because machines don't pay income tax, and 75% of all federal revenue comes from taxing human labor. All right, what do we got to do? Here's the simple answer: tax the AI. Bingo. Okay, so what do we got going on with Google? You've been hearing me talk about it: multimodal assisting, analyzing and creating, writing and summarizing, and you just saw what it did in the hands of Ethan Mollick. If anybody knows Ethan Mollick, I just want to get an introduction so I don't have to keep fanboying him and trying to get information to him. I really want to sit down and have a beer with the man. He's just genius, and he's right along my wheelhouse. So Notebook LM just became a full AI research engine, and you saw what it can do. So that's crazy. And then Meta buys multiple. So this slide deck, these right here in particular, are created autonomously. When I just said, find me the top 10 stories and then give me this. And I told it some specs. Once I got this look, I like this look, so it works for our TV show. So in the future, all I'm going to be doing is just saying 20 minutes before the show and then load it into a slide deck. So I'm probably going to be using Perplexity. Weird stories. This guy took over 6,700 Roombas around the country and then could look at through their video feeds at floor plans. And by the way, Roomba is doing that on purpose. They know the floor plans of every one of your houses because you got this, as I do myself, have a Roomba in your house. Holy cow. So the invisible hand, I love doing these in sort of like Renaissance painting style, but this is a guy basically just sitting there having his robots make money for him. There you go. That's kind of cute. And then here's the new robots. This is a Kickstarter program. So multimodal generative AI. I just ordered an attachment to your phone. As you take pictures, you talk to it, and it changes it using Nana Banana live. Holy cow, that's where we are. So there's the radio tune that we just saw. What a beautiful thing. And I really want to pursue this, Brandon, if you get a chance to pipe in here and say a word or two. I think that's something. Here we go. Foldable stem cell heart patch could replace transplants. They've actually created an entire... So you have your own stem cells. Each stem cell has the architecture to create a part of your heart, and they can 3D print using your stem cells. That means that, guess what? Take a couple of your healthy stem cells, put them on ice, and when your heart fails, it rebuilds an entire one, brand new from your architecture. Guess what? It does not get rejected. It's your own body. Holy cow, we're there, right? So we're in this ideation creation ring, this wonderful place where freedom from work, freedom from Gemini generating Nana Banana multimodal flow is just a flow and you're just a part of it. This is the ascension, baby. I think the most people are underestimating just how radical the upside of AI could be. This is Dario Amodei. He's the man that runs Anthropic. He's the one that's fighting the U.S. government. If directed with profound moral clarity, he adds, this technology possesses the capability to eradicate disease, lift billions from poverty, and unlock unparalleled biological and cognitive freedom. What a beautiful...
Wow, it's incredible.
Right? And I had
Eric, I do want to give you a quick time check.
Okay. So we're ready to
we're coming up the hour. And I know the Jelly Pod segment ran about an hour. So
yeah. So we're going to go on over and we're going to play right now. Let me see. I can make sure I get to the right place. I don't know why this is... Stop sharing.
because I knew I was going to be on a train, we pre-recorded JellyPod, and our interview with Pierson. And all you have to do if it's downloaded, all you have to do is hit that present button in video, and then select that video file from your computer, and it'll play.
Okay. And hopefully I can do that. So I'm going to say video file. And I got to find out where that sucker is. Okay. Give me just a minute. Do you have anything to say about what I just went over there? It's kind of crazy. And I know, so next week we're going to definitely go into all the different tools and demonstrate. I'll have some actions to show. Hopefully we can get that radio made. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, not about that, but just in general. I mean, things are moving so fast. You started at the top of the hour talking about community and getting into community AI.
Okay.
The AI salon is really where you want to be. AI salon, community.salon.ai, and there's a lot of fun things happening there as well. Yes, I'm on a train. Not in outer space.
Oh, Pierson interview. Here we go. So I'm going to open this up. Welcome to AITV Starship. Tonight we've got an amazing guest. It's Pierson Marks. He's from JellyPod, the podcast company. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Pierson, and your product, because I'm excited. I know that producer Brandon's such a huge fan. He's been making podcasts with his kids. I'm a huge fan. I listen to all kinds of NPR and that kind of stuff. So what is JellyPod, and where are you kind of positioned, and what's happening new with JellyPod?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for having me on today. My name is Pierson. I'm the founder of JellyPod, and JellyPod is the AI podcast studio. So we try to enable people to create podcasts using AI, accelerating their creation process without replacing their voice, actually amplifying what you were going to talk about without ever stepping foot into a recording studio like we're doing right now. So, it's JellyPod is really a place where you can come to the platform, upload source material, whether that's PDFs, PowerPoints, website links, pretty much any sort of material, and then actually create a podcast series between multiple AI hosts who you create. And so these characters are entities that have a name, they have a backstory, they have a voice. It could be a clone of your own voice if you want to do that. Speak like essentially every language, and you can actually dump them into what we call is like the virtual podcast studio, and have them just go on a tangent and talk about the content that you want them to talk about. You sit back as the producer and director and let them go on a conversation about anything.
Okay, so I'm going to set it up. So basically, there's 500,000 people every day that start listening to podcasts. So where do they usually get their content, and where would your content be available for the public to consume?
Yeah, so JellyPod, we're the creation studio, but we also have hosting. So the difference for JellyPod is that, like, hey, you have an idea for a new podcast. You don't have a studio. You don't have a microphone. You have no background in audio production.
Okay. You
come to JellyPod, you create your podcast, and then with a single integration, you can go to Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, all of the above, and your own website. So not only do we do the creation, we also help you with the hosting and distribution so that you can, without going to another platform, just be like, hey, I want to publish to Spotify. I want to publish to my website.
So you've got the whole team of NPR, Wait, Don't Tell Me, in a box that even Brandon with his son can make a science podcast about, right? That's kind of the goal.
Absolutely. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. So you have 60,000 global creators and generated over 100,000 pieces of content. This is according to Perplexity. So fact check me on that. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it's a few months old, but pretty much, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Oh, so you're increasing.
Yep.
Okay. So you originally, what are the newest things that you've added to the station that capabilities or podcast? So JellyPod podcast station, or what's the, how do I call it?
So we're still in the middle of where we want to land the rebrand. We're still the podcast studio, but we're migrating a little bit more towards this agentic creation platform. So the core of the product is podcasting, but the interface and what we're doing is actually very interesting. It's kind of more agentic, like ChatGPT. like
Yeah.
Manus or any of those like agent-based platforms.
Yeah. So on this
Yeah,
show, we've
and-
done Manus. I use that quite a bit for agentic stuff. I'm using Notebook LM a lot. In fact, I've got way too much of that going on. And I'm
Right.
using it for getting educators. Well, what I'm really fascinated, so I have not been a big consumer of audio only because as a photojournalist for 50 years of my life, I've written 48 books about it. I'm a visual guy. But that's a new thing you're starting to add to the ability, not only like NPR to do a background research on some topic, like is warp drive really something you can do with, for real? And then you can research it. So you've got a team of researchers, which is what NPR would have. And then you get on there and you can have multiple voices. You can have it write the script for you and perform it. So that would be akin to Notebook LM's audio overview. And now you're adding video on top of that or images. Is that generated within your platform or how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. It's generated within our platform.
Okay.
So you nailed it right on the head there. I mean, it's literally.
I do my homework.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's great.
In fact, I'm going to ask you a little bit. Brandon's going to show off what he's been doing on your platform, which is really spectacular. We've already featured that already. Could you get set up to show us like a quick little tour to get started, like a primer 101? And we'll cue that up. But, you have a few minutes to get yourself comfortable with sharing screen. There's a bit of a process in there to do that. And while you're doing it, so your background, you came from the Alexa, so you got interested in voice. How did you come about creating your platform?
Yeah.
And even the idea. And so how long have you been in business?
Yeah. So Jellypod was founded in 2023. So it's coming up actually on
a couple
3
of
years, which is crazy to me. The first year was an exploratory period. Pretty much. The current platform in its most recent state, like what Brandon found and about over a year ago now, was launched in beta in November of 2024 and publicly launched in January 2025. So a little over a year.
And it's financially successful. You guys are starting to take off and
yeah,
I'm hearing buzz.
In AI years, that's like 8 years. Just so you know.
Honestly, yeah.
So you're coming on your golden anniversary at this point, right? So,
and I'm just going to jump in, Rick, and share that, watching the platform evolve over the past year since we got introduced to it in the public beta through the AI Salon has been just fascinating because back in the good old days, you really had to bring your own sources. You had to write your own scripts. You had to the producer part was really, truly the producer. You really had to know a thing or two about producing podcasts. And now with things like turbo mode and deep research built into the platform, you really don't need to know anything about creating a podcast to create a very authentic, genuine, helpful podcast and then launch it with almost
we're going to
no
get Brandon to share his screen because he makes a podcast with his son, and I'll let Brandon introduce that in just a second. So let's take a look at the interface and what you're facing with. So I'm imagining, so I'm kind of semi-comparing it a little bit, but so we've got basically, so you have some free tier where you can try the product out and kind of get a start point. And then you have your own, are you using any particular model, large language model underneath your generation process?
Yeah, so we use a combination of models. We switch through them just to get the best performance and lowest cost. But that's one of the things that I think we'll see in the near future in AI products go away. The model picker, I don't see why that's a thing.
It should be automatic, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a huge fan. I started with Perplexity. I met Arvind when he was first getting started, and I was part of this team doing like testing and stuff like this. And I think the thing about it, it was a mixture of expert, but it picked the expert according to the expertise. So if I want Claude to come in there to write really good scripts, that's what I do, right? And I know that Perplexity is going to switch between Claude, then it's going to go to Grok if it wants to do social media content kind of aggregation. So is your multiple aggregation of these a mixture of experts, I guess, right? You have different ones for generating images that you use, and then different ones for the scripts, different ones for research. Is it a combination like that?
Exactly. Yeah, it's a combination of things. I mean, like YouTube understanding is a great example of when we use Gemini.
Okay.
But script writing, we use some sort of models, whether we just cycle through certain things based on what's the best at writing the scripts. And some problems are much more like, hey, we don't really need a complicated or a really big model, and just like a classification or a summarization problem, we just use the cheapest, fastest thing.
Okay, so I did one recently. So a friend of mine is Denise Herzig. For the last 40 years, she's been scuba diving with the dolphins in Bimini, and then she is now talking to dolphins, full stop. So I found a YouTube video about her, and I'm going diving with her this summer to do the real research. So she's been hired by the CIA. She's been hired by all kinds of organizations. In the last 40 years, she's lived with them every summer for 3 months. She's an FAU professor. So I found a really good video, and I basically put that in there as source material. So how do you do a research? So if I wanted to research and do a podcast about Denise Herzig, that's her name, and about dolphins and talking to dolphins, where would I start and how would I research that as a subject source kind of idea? Or is it that specific? Could I actually take that same YouTube and pop it in there to get started with a source?
Yeah. So in this situation, you'd have multiple ways to go about it. One, you have the YouTube video. You want to just use that video. What you do is just click this add button.
Okay.
Click on YouTube and just paste that link right there.
Oh, snap. So that's what I did. And then I went in and I went to Notebook LM and I said, make me a 15-slide deck from this. And that's how and then I did an audio overview, and it did a decent job. It actually, so you're right on that using Google, because Gemini, Google owns YouTube. So when it pulls in stuff, it's got the full transcripts. So it was able to make a really juicy podcast. Okay, so that's a use case. And in Brandon,
we're gonna convert Rick by the end of this episode. Because Rick is gone. Rick, how many Notebook LMs have you created over the past year?
I maxed out 3 accounts already. It's 300 per account.
Oh wow! How many are accounts?
300 accounts and 300 entries into each account.
Wow!
And I've generated over 5,000 assets off of it. And that's like one night I did 1,000 assets.
That's crazy.
So that means everything you can produce in there. I did all of them, and it's really quite extraordinary. So now I'm thinking, and here's my problem right now. I don't want Gemini's voices, Notebook LM's voices. I want my voice. And that's where you guys come in, right? So if I took the script from talking about Denise Herzig, for example, but I could record my voice and clone it, right? So tell us a little about, if I wanted to use my voice, so I take my script, I copy and paste in there. And what I might do Thursday night is I might actually do what I'm going to walk you through right now. And then I'll show live on the show. In fact, if you want to come back on with me, since Brandon will be on a train for the live show, right? And you can see me actually do it, because I want to use my voice. And then I have a Rescue Connect, which is an application for disasters. So I want the AI that's built into Rescue Connect. So you've got a forest fire in California or hurricane in the United States. I'm getting FEMA to use this app before, during, and after to basically aggregate stuff for human beings in the pathway of disaster. So it's this app. It's a world project I'm working on. It's one of our moonshots. And I want to have a podcast. So I already made the script. It's a text file.
Mm-hmm.
I pop it in there. I said to have 2 voices. So I need a robot voice, and that's going to talk to me, talking like a Rescue Randy. So pick the voice. So first, let's talk about cloning my voice. So I am the podcaster of record here. How would I go about doing that in your platform?
Yeah, totally. Well, that'd be a super cool podcast. I mean,
I think so.
But to clone your voice, so right here on the left-hand side, we have this thing called hosts. And this is like an account that I have. I have some test hosts right here. But you can go and just click create new host. And it'll just guide you through like this 6-step process or 7-step process where you can just create that host. So in this case, I mean, I'll just use my voice. I'll just say me. So Pierson Marks, and I'll just name it AITV Starship, just so I can know. And then
okay,
I'll
perfect.
Host backstory. So this is kind of where you give your host, your character, some personality.
Okay.
And
So I could
you,
be the dangerous man if I needed to, right?
Yeah.
So this is my political character. If I get in danger, I put on my hat and we start riding, right? Okay, I like that.
First of all, Pierson, I think you're it's bold of you to assume that it's gonna be the Rick versus Rick podcast by the end of the night here. We're gonna have Rick interviewing Rick. But
it could work.
I do want to call out the backstory
debate.
Yeah,
and I can debate the reality of life
component.
Is it all AI?
I do want to call out this backstory component because Max Velocity is the host of our podcast, and it's kind of a Blippi meets Bill Nye character. And we're 30 episodes. We are our 30th episode. We're halfway through season 2. Is how long we've been doing this podcast. It's a weekly podcast, and I've noticed that over time, Max has invented more of his personality than I gave him. It has really taken on a life of his own. So he's talking about his life in Inventon, the community in which he lives. I never told him that he lived in Inventon. And so he's talking about these experiences as if he's lived them, calling back to previous episodes. And it really is like working with a host of a podcast that you can interact with and kind of mold. And then if he says something completely out of pocket, you can then take that and say, nope, don't say that. And edit that.
Now I'm signing up for the Max plan, whatever it is, because I've got characters in my head that have to come out. I mean, I'm basically got 13 characters. I'm a psychopath.
Hang on, Rick, I'll send you my referral link after we're done.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, so this is really rich because I could be the dangerous man. So let me tell you the profile of the dangerous man. I'm not suggesting you put it in here, but when I have something dangerous and political, I'll come. Let's do the dangerous man. Let's do. Oh my God,
there we go.
So the dangerous man gets into good trouble, necessary trouble. He's a political activist who stands up for the little boy, the people that don't have a champion. He's the champion for the disenfranchised. He's the man that's born of responsibility, thinks 7 generations of the future for the betterment of all humanity, rises every day to be a better version of himself so he can be of service, standing on the shoulders of his ancestors, respecting what it is to be a responsible human being in today's world. And of course I could do this whole thing. So he is a superhero for the voiceless.
Yeah. And I think
he gets into good trouble, necessary trouble. That's probably enough, right? You get the idea, right? So he's a political superhero. He is the Batman of my Bruce Wayne. He is the Clark Kent. I mean, he's the Superman of my Clark Kent. So he's my alter ego that's aggressively helpful. Is born of responsibility. That sounds like a pretty good deal, right? So this is going to affect, and you've got the dangerous man. So I could talk as Clark Kent to the dangerous man, I'm imagining. And I'm a professor. I'm called the Rick the AI guy. I'm the friendly guy you can ask any questions. I'm not out there, causing trouble or any kind of trouble. I'm just being helpful, right? So I could have a conversation with my alter ego, and it would be really interesting.
Absolutely.
Pierson, so this is influencing.
Just checking in. So, and we can edit this out if you've deprecated this feature because I don't use it. But at one point, we had the ability to bring in live elements of live human recording adjacent to the AI generated content. That's still a thing in your platform, yeah?
Do you mean like in an individual episode where you can put in snippets?
Yes.
Yeah. You can still do that. It's just we've kind of made it not as visible, but you can still do that. Yeah, you could add any audio files.
I got a weird idea. You remember the last episode we just did? What if you went to our YouTube channel, copy and paste the Dangerous Man episode, that last one, and there's your podcast content, and we set them up.
Yeah, but we still have to do the backstory. But so what I was alluding to is, in addition to having these AI generated voices, let's say you have a podcast and you want to interview an actual human expert, like a subject matter expert, like you bring in the Adobe creative team and want to talk to them and want the podcast to be interviewed, but you don't want to interview an AI version of them. You could record in audio editing, record audio snippets, and then upload those audio snippets. You can upload sound effects and music before and after in the studio. It's a really robust tool. So you can go from a completely AI generated podcast to a full on podcast.
Okay. Could I get you, Pierson, to see if you can go to our YouTube channel just to see?
Well, this is going to be, I think one thing I want to make sure we have time for, Rick, is just because if we have that YouTube content, that's going to be generating the source for a podcast episode, not necessarily a persona.
I think what I'll do is, but it could take the content from what I said and then generate a shorter version of it for broadcast, I guess. Okay. So the personality is going to influence the way it speaks. Is it going to change cadence? Is it going to make it more aggressive or deeper voice?
Yeah, totally. So the backstory just kind of helps. It's guide its personality, its speaking style, the words it uses. So you can put as much context here. Like if there's something that really influenced this character's upbringing, maybe where they were born, their parents, their family.
So that might come into conversation. The Dangerous Man is standing up for the unsung heroes of the world. Okay. All right.
And so, for example, Max Velocity, in our latest episode that dropped last Friday, Sky High Secrets, how skyscrapers stay standing, Max used his persona and scripted in things like, coming to you from the busy city of Inventon. I want you to use your imagination for a second. Ready? I didn't prompt any of that. That's just him knowing that he's trying to engage a 3 to 6 year old audience, and that's his backstory. Right. And he's bringing those elements into the phraseology of the scripting. So it's going out and doing all of this research, and taking all of these really adult concepts like blueprints of buildings in Chicago and rewriting it with the backstory, and it is a really cool experience to be a part of.
Totally.
We need to give Max a photo, though.
Yeah,
you didn't have photos the last time when I created Max. I need to go
so let's do this. I'm going to actually go do this that we're doing right now. I'm going to have the whole thing done. So Thursday night, I'm going to broadcast the real thing. So let's walk through the whole steps in setting up. So I'm going to do a Dangerous Man. So I'm doing the backstory because that changes. It might even say the tagline, I think, is being a better version of myself every day. So it might say, put in the tagline here. It would naturally. So my understanding is Dr. Hume was, Hume, was an individual who identified 57 different intonations of emotionality within the human language. So if you say, hey, I'm feeling really sad, the response from an AI that's aware of that, oh my God, why are you so sad? So it would change the attitude, right? Is this what that persona is doing to your voice? It's creating a personality profile of how it might react given a situation?
So it impacts all of it. It's just kind of like very high level core things, core experiences that are like foundational to that character's personality. They're not explicitly, it's not where you would necessarily explicitly say, hey, when somebody is like, you'd say something more of like, you're an empathetic person. Versus explicit like instructions.
Although if you wanted to bring in more emotion, Pierson could probably tell you about his newest innovation that dropped, was it last week, where you could actually guide the emotional regulation with brackets. So if you want them to laugh or be excited, you can actually inject that emotion directly into the script.
Okay. So when I'm doing my Dangerous Man, I'm going to go to that YouTube video. We did a very political thing about Anthropic versus ChatGPT and Department of War. It was an hour long, and it was a dangerous, almost treasonous, to be honest with you, television show about how effed up that was, right? So it's an attitude, but then if I were doing it as myself, I'd be talking about what is the crisis of public versus private? What is the government that's overseeing and then investigating you? So I might have it from an academic perspective. So I could talk, and where I would use it in the classroom is to debate. I could have Aristotle and Socrates sort of attitudes, and I could potentially load it up with Nietzsche versus, so I could use this by creating the characters, taking perspective.
I know you've got a wide swath of end users and customers that are using JellyPod for all sorts of creative things, from fiction to historical data to education. Do you find a lot of penetration into the education space? Do you find a lot of educators are using it to supplement content, or is that still an emerging market for you?
Yeah, we're seeing a large percentage. Our largest individual ICP is under the educational umbrella. I haven't broken it down necessarily into I haven't classified everything that everyone's creates, but using some customer profile information and the overall series, we see 40% of users are in the educational space, which is pretty cool. So it's university professors who take their existing lecture materials and help convert them into podcast series, or as supplementary, informational things, extending the classroom. So it's hey, we're going to talk and lecture about this, and here's a real world example of what's going on, so you can actually supplement your lectures versus converting lectures. So
I love this because a lot of the products like Magic School is using persona based things. So you ask the large language model, act as Martin Luther King. And then you ask it, what would you do in today's world to do peaceful, nonviolent protests? What would that look like? So you're able to contextualize old information from someone that doesn't activate the students' thinking. So we took Plato's Cave. You're familiar with the allegory of Plato's Cave? So we tried to get a philosophy class, and we did it very successfully. We had it create all the information from Plato, everything he's ever said, and all the other people. So we loaded that up in NotebookLM. So we created a database, and then we said, give me a modern day problem. So the student came to this large language model and said, ask it the question. All my friends are inside, they're on social media all the time. I want them to go out and play soccer. And then it matched them with a philosopher, and then it had a conversation. Plato's Cave is basically all your friends are inside on social media. They're chained to a wall looking at shadows because there's a fire behind them. They've never been outside. So you got to convince them that the life outside. So they then understood, instead of dead old guys that had this philosophy, all of a sudden they understood Plato's Cave, and they saw that it was a consciousness raising that had to happen in the minds of someone who was inside in social media, that they were missing all the fun. And so they had to post their results. So the kid went out and took a picture of him and his friends playing soccer, and he got an A on the assignment. And he had to write a reaction paper how a whole dead guy basically found a way for him to make his friends come out and play soccer with him. And they were all happy. So that was the idea, is that so this professor I was working with, for 30 years, he's been teaching philosophy. In the last couple of years, nobody cares about Plato or Nietzsche or whatever. And they're like, and then all of a sudden, they're asking him questions. My girlfriend is ghosting me. She's a real vampire emotionally. Oh, Nietzsche would say, And so it would ask, and it would contextualize this old dead guy and make it relevant to today, which is where I think that all of these tools go. And
Plato's podcast. There you go.
Yeah, Plato's podcast, right? Ask Plato. So I imagine that it would be like Miss Frizzle is a show that my kids grew up on, and I actually kind of grew up on it too. Mr. Science, right? I mean, all these things. If you could set up a persona, or you could couch it characters. Every human being is about storytelling, aren't they? Isn't that our super token thing, right? So Frodo is the same story as the hero's journey, that Joseph Campbell kind of identified, that the Iliad and the Odyssey is all about. And so storytelling is podcasting. It's in the age of AI, what's extraordinary is we can use this tool that we think of as being cold and lifeless, and we can breathe our humanity into it by choosing to tell exciting stories in exciting ways. So the people that are really good at it are people like yourself that are thinking, how can we champion storytelling?
Totally.
Because if I say Frodo, you've got a billion. If I say 9/11, there's a billion tokens of information off of that. There's 25-year war. There's so that's our superpower. And storytelling is from the fireside. We said how we killed that bear to the Bible that told the story. So this is the greatest story ever told in your power with the access to agency to extend your reach and talk about things you can't imagine. So that's awesome.
Where I want to go now here, Pierson, if it's okay, because I know we were starting to go down the path of custom voice creation, but I think it's actually an outlying use case for your platform. I want to talk about the experience that somebody who's never built a podcast has with the platform, and just show how easy it is to go from Spark to Spotify in just a few clicks.
Okay.
Yeah. Amazing. So actually, I might show something here that Brandon, I don't know if even you've seen, because it was released today. And it's actually going to be,
premiere.
Premiere of the newest feature that we just released. The ability to create multi-episode podcast series. So in the past, you have your podcast Creative Sparks. You would create that series, which is Creative Sparks. You give it a description. And then in that podcast series, you create those individual episodes. So every week, you release an individual episode. So today, we actually released something that allows you, called Magic Podcasts, which actually allows you to create a multi-episode podcast series from a single document.
Stop it.
The dangerous man is coming along. Yeah.
It's pretty exciting because there were so many people that came to me and asked, like, hey, I have this good example, a 70-page employee handbook, and I want my employees to listen to a podcast series, my employee handbook, but condensing 70 pages of information into one 10-minute podcast is just, you miss a lot of context. So what this feature does, you could take that 70-page PDF document, and then JellyPod will break that up into multiple episodes, let's say probably 8 in this case, and you'll have 8 10-minute episodes from that PDF. So I'm going to show.
Let's back up just a little bit. So first, we know that inputs we can actually create a persona. We have multiple personas, and we have them debate each other. Let's say that's one. What kind of inputs can we have? So we can input a YouTube video with just a URL. We can input a source material like a PDF.
Right.
Can we input a website, paste text? So this is similar to Notebook LM. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there any kind of weird limitations or things that size of files or anything like that we should be concerned about?
There is the upper threshold on size of video files, size of files in general. We haven't really seen many people hit that. Just because.
So since you're using
Rick will be your upper limit.
I'm going to find out where that is. Yeah. What I found to be the most powerful is taking a YouTube that's 2 hours long, and like Lex Fridman is talking to Vladimir Putin, right? And just pop it in there and have it summarize it, because so you're using the Gemini model, so you get full transcripts, so there's nothing missing.
Yeah, so YouTube files, but if you are interviewing somebody and you uploaded that as a source, I think you're going to get into size limitations. But Pierson, I got to ask, and it's a loaded question because I know you know the answer, is what if I don't have the source material?
Yeah, totally. So if you don't have the source material, you just prompt your way. So this is what's really cool. So
I'm loving it.
Like, do we have what do we want to create here?
How about a growing your YouTube presence podcast as we look to expand our presence of AITV Starship?
How to get to a million? How to get 1 million subscribers?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
So let's actually do this. So podcast series, and we'll just click go. And so what's going to happen right here, it's going to first going to do some thinking, and then it's going to do a web search. So it's going to search.
Is it proprietary to ask what engines or multiple engines are under the hood in this process?
It's pretty much like
Gemini.
Yeah, I mean, we use every model provider we can here.
Oh, okay.
Multiple search.
So you're
APIs.
aggregating, and
Yeah.
it's based upon. So obviously, if you're doing YouTube search, it's got to be Gemini because they own the property, so they've got the keys to the inside stuff, right? Oh,
Yeah.
And you're almost looking like you're using Perplexity. Just
Yeah,
the way it
actually,
thinks
we
about
don't
it.
use Perplexity. That's the one thing we don't use
Okay.
Perplexity's APIs.
Because you have your own API mixture, and you're cooking your sauce your proprietary mixture way.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right.
And
I've been spending a lot of
Pierson,
times identifying the personalities of different models. So Claude is the Shakespeare, Grok is Andrew Dice Clay, and Oprah is ChatGPT. So I've been doing, and Perplexity is Sherlock Holmes with citations. So if I'm doing academic stuff, I'm using multiple large language models. So I'm using Grok because I have a nasty scene in chapter 9 where it involves sex. Nobody else is going to talk about sex, so I get Grok to do it because it'll talk about everything. If I have to have something, because it's all based upon what? It's all built on social media. So if something just went viral on X, I'm going to go to Grok to find out what that is.
Yeah.
And then none of the other ones have that as their domain. So that's my mixture.
Something else I want to
in my head.
Yeah. Something else I want to call out here, Pierson, is that this has been a change recently in terms of how you tokenize the system in terms of what your JellyPod credits in the system actually get used for. Can you talk about that?
Totally. Yeah. So in the past, we were kind of, your credits would be used for generating audio. And when you were generating your podcast, let's say you make some edits, you'd have to regenerate audio for the sections that you just didn't like necessarily. And a few weeks ago, we made a change where now your credits are only consumed when you actually publish your podcast or you download it. So it's like, unlike a lot of other AI platforms where credits are kind of used along the way, like independent of the outputs. So it's like you're going to be paid, you're charged for just, making a request. We actually align it with the output. So until you're satisfied with like the podcast, your credits don't get used. So once you click download, then
That's very generous.
Yeah, we'll do that. So
don't ruin it for us, Rick. Don't ruin it for us.
So
essentially
the credits is in your top right hand corner. That's your credit. So it's clicking as you're getting there. So you kind of know where you are. It's a gas gauge.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like from a creativity, like just because creation should be this iterative process. And I think when you're doing this sort of ROI calculation on like, do I want to make my thing better, or do I just want to keep my credits? It just kind of, breaks down.
You're chasing the wrong thing. So you're giving us a leeway to get what we're satisfied with, and then you have a satisfied customer who's glad to spend the credits because they got what they were looking for.
Yep.
That's awesome. I like that idea. That's a good philosophy.
So yeah, exactly. So here we'll just like actually create the series. So
that's it.
So we'll just create the series.
Okay.
And let it go. So what's going to happen here is that it's going to take this context about how to grow a YouTube Shorts channel, strategies, and now it's creating this whole podcast series. So it's 6 episodes here that it's creating.
Holy cow!
And this is something that's like Notebook LM doesn't do. They
shut the door. No, it doesn't do any of this.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And so there we go. It created the cover art for you, grow your YouTube presence. Let's even look at it. Let's see. We got 6 episodes set up. Cool. So dialing in your niche, content strategy, hooks, titles, thumbnails, retention analytics, branding, monetization. So there we go.
Man.
And that's just the podcast series outline. So actually each one of those episodes hasn't been generated yet. So this gives you a chance to kind of review, what does this series look like? What's the title of each episode? We can actually then go in and then generate them. So in this case, I'm going to say, hey, generate episode 1. So it's more of an iterative creative process, but you have the outline. So you have the whole skeleton for what you want your series to be about, 6 episodes. And so right here, it's kicking off that episode generation. It's decided to be 3 chapters long. Each chapter is usually around 3 to 5 minutes. So this is probably going to end up being anywhere from about probably 10-ish minutes.
So if someone's not used to it, so you're brand new to this idea, what's an average really sweet spot for the number of minutes that you should do in a regular podcast, and how frequently should you publish?
Yeah, totally. So we default to what we'd call medium length podcast episode, but medium length is like about 10 to 12 minutes. So we found that where AI podcasting is much more catered towards this medium length middle ground. So it's not TikTok shorts, not 1 minute, and it's not YouTube actual traditionally recorded podcasts. It's like 40 minutes long. It's the sweet spot's going to be 10. And then create multiple episodes. So if you want 40 minutes of content, create 4 episodes. Drag the listener along on the journey between episodes versus creating 1 episode that's 40 minutes. You're going to have higher listener view counts, engagement, retention. Like you're pulling them along with the story versus overwhelming them with the first episode being 45 minutes. And you're like, well,
so let me do a comparison for YouTube. For our channel, we do 2 hours. We cut it up into 30 minutes for mission tools. So we got 30 minutes on your product, JellyPod, which we'll do. And then we would do shorts. So 90-second, do like you do clips of the highlight reel. So we're using Opus Clip to clip it out.
Nice.
What we could be doing is making our 10-minute. What's the maximum length that you would produce typically?
I've seen episodes get up to an hour on JellyPod.
But and then
it all depends on the subject matter.
Yeah.
But
so could I publish
one
on
thing
YouTube? Could I have a JellyPod section of our AI Starship? Just the
Curious
JellyPod?
Sparks is published on YouTube. So we have it has its own podcast channel. But one thing that, just because Rick mentioned clips, that's one of the other newest. I swear, Pierson, I don't think you guys sleep over there. I'm a little bit concerned for your health because one thing that you can do is take segments of your podcast and it creates little video clips automatically that you can then share out on socials. So it does that whole clipping thing to capture little segments. So as you're promoting your podcast series, you can have those clips pre-made by JellyPod for the purposes of promoting the link back to the website. Or to the
so let me just absorb all of this. So I got it. I'm looking at what looks like ChatGPT or Gemini. On the left, you've got podcasts, which are clips, hosts, pronunciations. Is that just like if you have weird words that you want to make sure it pronounces it correctly?
Yeah, we can't assume that the AI is going to know how to pronounce Macaulay.
Yes, exactly. Well, and it has made mistakes before. Then writing styles, image styles. So you got and then source library. Then when you're creating them, they show up in your recents. And could we make separate folders? If I'm doing a kids podcast, that would be in a folder of its own. Is it like a project library situation?
Yeah, the recents here are kind of just like the most recent things you've been working on, but podcasts are kind of the folder. So you create like probably one podcast series, and that's
Yeah. So in the center section, we just went through. Now it's got a script that we can view the script, and we can go in and edit. So we're generating episode 2, outline 2, and at the bottom where it says Magic Podcast Series, what are your other choices there when you get started, beginning of your thing?
Yeah. So if we
just created a new.
Right. So I'll go back to here where you can actually change this, but we have 4 sorts of content types. You can create a podcast episode, which in this case, this is grow your YouTube presence. So this is the podcast that we just created, actually. So just to make a clear distinction, there's a podcast, which is a series. That's the umbrella. And then individual episodes are like the actual pieces of content that you create. So that sometimes some people get a little confused. But yeah, podcast series is the series. Podcast episodes are the episodes of the episodes.
So you can start with a whole series that you're doing, do one episode at a time. Then it says host 2. What are the other options that I have there besides host and numbers?
Yeah. So for example, if you're creating a new episode for our podcast, Grow Your YouTube Presence, by default, this podcast series has 2 hosts, but maybe let's say the next episode that we want to create, we want to bring in Emily as a 3rd guest or 3rd host. We can do that here. So
the choice of voices is your clone voice, somebody else's clone voice, and you have safety and security surrounding that. So no one's using it without your permission, and you're verifying you are who you are, just like everybody does, right? Yeah. From 11 Labs to whatever.
A lot of these are going to be AI generated personas. So you could have 3 different characters that you create.
So the dangerous man versus Rick the AI guy. Okay.
Or, the Randy Rescuer versus FEMA Freddy, right? Like you could have different AI generated hosts as well, talk back and forth. And I want to call out, Pierson, the little piece that's new, I think, below that element, which is, here are a few ideas to get you started. I had historically either been sourcing my ideas from one of 3 places for Curious Sparks. Either it was about what my son was learning about in school, or what I was curious about. Like I was like, I want to learn more about this. Or I just asked ChatGPT to give me a list.
Tell me why.
Iterate from there.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, my favorite thing as a kid was the Tell Me Why books. Why is the sky blue? Why is this? And then I went in a deep dive. I mean, I could really see it. Tell Me Why. I don't know if that's IP still.
But
that would be awesome.
For the 30th episode, I know I wanted to generate one, but I was flush out of ideas. And I was sitting at that blank screen, and all of a sudden it said, how about an episode about how rainbows form? I'm like, that is perfect. So I literally just clicked the suggested tile and hit go, and it created an entire episode about rainbows. That's the one that's dropping on Friday.
Amazing.
So dropping tomorrow for anybody who's watching this live.
Yeah. Okay. It uses all the context. So those suggestions are actually intelligent. They look at everything else that you've already created, your host, your podcast series, everything. So hopefully it won't ever say to generate something you've already done.
This is the one thing I say to everybody using a large language model: the more context you give it. If you give it, you've got a dangerous man and you've got a calm, regular educator, right? And that conversation now gives a context, and then it frames up the question as you argue over free will and determinism, or when you talk about the particular thing. So you're getting the context from all searching on all the internet. Besides my own clone voice and Brandon and I actually could we interact live with the other characters? Are there other voices you have in your stable? Do you have a child's voice if you wanted to do a podcast about kids and you didn't have a kid?
Yeah, children's voices are interesting just from the legal perspective. We do have like younger sounding voices-esque, but sometimes certain things just
there's too many bad actors. Because initially my initial idea was to have Curious Sparks hosted by a child and Child Wonder, but I kept hitting the security and I kept getting adult voices trying to mimic a child, and that wasn't what I was going for. So that's where I pivoted into Max Velocity. But in theory, you could create those other voices, and not yet. Probably by next week, Pierson, knowing at the rate you release stuff, you'll have a live podcast version where you can actually interact live. But that's not something. I mean, these are designed to be, kind of pre-canned, pre-produced, and you could schedule them out, but there's not that live interactive element where you're interacting with the
you don't have any famous people that you've licensed their voices. You're not at that kind of level yet, I guess.
No.
You have some people. Could I offer my voice to do other people's podcasts, or what voices do you have besides? What are your in-house voices? I guess.
Yeah, so we essentially, we don't do any of our voice model training. So we work with multiple text-to-speech providers, mainly 11 Labs, to do a lot of our voices. So if there's something on there that you like and you want in JellyPod and we don't have it, we can totally just add it. You can also import your own professional voice clone. So that's something people do as well. So if you have a voice clone like a professional voice clone that you've made with 11 Labs, we have the ability to import that into your account so that you can.
Oh, nice.
So
is there any extra charge for that? Is that enough?
No, anyone can do that.
That's awesome. Okay. Ooh, I'm liking this already.
So if we go back to our YouTube series, because I want to be respectful of your time here. We're coming up on the top of the hour. And so if we come back here, so now we've got an outline. We've generated the first episode. What can we do with that?
Yeah, let's go into it. So we generated the first episode. Let's go. view of the episode. So here we go. Here's the episode. So yeah, 12
Okay.
minutes, right around what I thought was going to happen.
Okay.
And let's just listen to the first like 30 seconds just to see what it sounds like.
Oh, this is exciting.
For everybody that's watching for the first time, this is Creative Flux. We talk about generative media, creator work.
This is interesting.
And that's James Tuner.
We're hearing it. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So this is
flows and how to actually grow with this stuff instead of just watching cool demos. I'm Pierson Marks, here with James Turner.
What's up, everyone? If you've got a small or growing YouTube channel, this one's for you. We're basically doing free positioning consulting for your channel today.
So let's just set the stage.
God.
So yeah, that's
awesome.
Yeah.
And because
I
Rick's a
wanna do
visual
this one
guy,
now.
let's flip over to the other tab, and because you
And this
have
is
the
fairly
ability to
new for your-
change the video component, or you have the ability when you're editing it to change the video format from the classic videogram to a few other styles as well.
Exactly. So like we have these templates. So right now we default to this karaoke one that looks like this, but we can choose classic audiogram that will look like this. Captions, the karaoke that we started with, or spotlight. And then magic video is something that we're doing. This is similar to Notebook LM's video overviews that they released.
Right.
We're getting there. We're improving on this, but this is actually going to look at your script, and it's going to generate video assets like images, bullets, slides that accompany.
But if they say something that you don't like, you can get in there and just edit the script.
Yeah.
So let me just suggest something, because this is what I did with my person talking to the dolphins. So I generated 15 slides. Could I import the 15 slides and it just kind of goes through them as I'm talking?
Not yet.
Okay. But stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
It's a 2-year-old company. I mean, you're not.
Yeah.
So it's generating the visuals based upon having read what you've written in the script.
Right, exactly.
So
And
if
this
you edited the script and you said, and the dolphin, comes up to the person or something, is it using Nana Banana under the hood or what?
We just choose a few different image models.
Okay.
Not Nano Banana yet because it's pretty expensive still.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll just regenerate the audio, and here we go. We have like I don't know why this title, but yeah, we can just like skim through this, and you can just see like there's slides, and there'll be an image here that pops in.
So it's actually pulling from the script as you're saying. So it's giving you captioning. It's throwing in images, B-roll, right? Oh, that's cool. Okay. And it's giving you PowerPoint kind of along the way.
Exactly.
This is great for trainer videos. If you're onboarding new hires and you want them to go security training, then you got a picture of security there, and don't give your password out to anybody, and don't answer that email unless you know who they are, kind of thing.
Totally. There's been a debate in my head a little bit about like moving in towards like an agency type thing where we either build an agency inside too that uses Jellypod for that stuff, because it's really interesting, how like if forward deployed creators, you hear the term forward deployed engineers all the time, but like forward deployed creators into your company, and something's
so you're already taking NPR's show and you're giving me something that more than NPR does, except for the live television version. And you're giving me a whole staff for research. You've got me a voice actors, so you've got a staff of people that to voice it out. Then you can edit everything, and you can add emotional context to how they're speaking and how they're addressing each other. It could be a comedy show. Could you make it so that they were laughing at each other kind of thing, or taking breaths? Is there that sort of intentionality to the coaching, the way they speak?
Yeah, you can chat with the with Jellypod right here and ask it to make changes to your script.
Oh, okay.
Like let's say,
because I noticed when you hovered over the line, there's something that appeared to the right.
Yeah. So
regenerate audio.
So
is that based on? Oh, okay. So then you would regenerate.
Yeah, but you could also give it direction like brackets for like laughter or whispers, excited. and then you could regenerate the audio to match that tone. But for me, the cool part of this is you don't, even if to speaking to your in-house agency and forward developer producers or podcasters, forward deployed podcasters, I've taken a couple of in-person events where they have an agenda, think about a big conference where you have to go and there's a bunch of different tracks. And I've worked with the hosts of those conferences to create supplemental materials. So a big thing that we did with the AI Salon in partnership with She Leads AI last December was Festivus. It was a free program. And what we did was we took all of the transcripts from all of the 2 days worth of programming and fed them in. And now for the people who subscribed to the event, they now get a JellyPod endorsed podcast that is a high level overview. So if they want to go back and hear Rick's segment, they can go back and listen to just that segment in a podcast format. And it was a add-on, a supplemental add-on for
so I got to hear the excited part. I got to see how excited he gets here. Can you say very excited?
Yes. And then, but for me as a JellyPod producer, it gave me the opportunity to go to them and I was part producing that episode, so I didn't charge them, but I could very easily see a future where I could go to a company and say, hey, I can produce, give me your stuff and I'll give you a podcast. And then I'll come back a week later with a fully produced professional podcast and charge them for it. And then they're like, oh my gosh, you must have hired this talent and, taken all this stuff. And this took me a half hour from my phone while I was sitting and watching the football game.
Do you actually use it on your phone? Because I'm trying to get people off the phones onto the desktop because it's so hard to build a mobile responsive platform.
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
Yeah. I do limited tweaking on the mobile device, but my mainstay is desktop for creating.
Sweet.
Okay, I got to hear what the excitement sounds like. Let's see. Excited. You put the word excited.
For everybody that's watching for the first time, we talk about generative media, creator workflows, and how to actually grow with this stuff instead of just watching cool demos. I'm Pierson Marks, here with James Turner.
So that was,
so excited.
Yeah. So
it's a British guy, so he's not going to get all that excited. What are you going to tell you?
Exactly.
It's the food.
And if I did something, and these things, so we actually give some drop downs here. So we
got tags.
Yeah, we got tags, these audio tags, and whispers, pauses. Some things are going to be better than others, just on, it's really heavily dependent on the voice in that character. If that person, subtle voice, maybe.
So if I said the dangerous man is very verbose and talks with a deep voice, and then it would have a context to, so a British guy is not going to get that excited. I'm sorry. It's just
I think the audio cues from my experiences also work better with the pre-canned AI voices than the voice clones, because the voice clones inherently try to stay very close to the native voice. And so it's harder to affect that versus the synthesized voices have the ability to the dynamic range has a much more flexibility.
Right.
Is this your real voice?
This was a bad host to have chosen because that's not. I'm not the British.
I was like, Pierson, you sound a little different in the podcast.
You do it pretty decent. I didn't want to insult your ethnic heritage there by saying that
this
British people voices are just not that good at excitement.
Yeah, I think I chose the So that's pretty much the whole editing experience, the magic video. There's a lot of other small things around the edges that you could to discover, but that's pretty much JellyPod at the end of the day. But I do want to show real quick too, how easy it is, how to publish, because if you click publish episode, what actually happens here is I'll just do this. It takes a second. And Brandon, I'm not sure if you knew this now, but you can actually leave this page. So in the past, it was kind of annoying.
I did not.
Yeah. So you could just close the window. If you it's publishing, I could actually go to the podcast and I'll see it's publishing right here. And that's it's all async now. So you'll get an email notification when it's done. So feel free to close that page.
So go back to that for a second. So I want to see. So you've got Spotify, obviously. You've got YouTube. You've got Apple as well.
Yeah, we got Apple.
Right. Okay.
So this was like a podcast we just created on the show right now. So we haven't connected anything, but the one thing that we do have connected
I see.
is our website. So every podcast created on JellyPod gets its own website that has all the episodes. So you could share this with your friends. You can, do whatever you want with that. And then and then they all have their own RSS feed. So once an episode goes here, you can just like use the RSS feed. So yeah, this is a great example of
So this is my Curious Sparks website. So we've got all 29 episodes there, and you can watch the episodes. But then if we come over here to YouTube, because I've got that RSS feed, we've got that entire all 29 episodes listed on YouTube. And so yeah, they're there, and they're on Spotify. They're on wherever your favorite podcasting platform is. Apple.
How do you monetize this? And is it that kind of a thing that people do it just for the money? I mean, if you had 10,000 people, how are you doing with yours, Brandon? What's your experience with it?
Well, I don't have 10,000 people yet.
Money, but
I'm not doing it for the money. But I think that I actually did a separate podcast series called Podcast Mastery, which is a podcast produced by JellyPod about producing podcasts on JellyPod. It was very meta, and it goes through the idea of how to create a podcast and how to market a podcast. So there's that whole marketing arm, just like anything else in life. If you build,
can we hear one of your JellyPods? I'm just kind of curious what yours sound like, because that's the selling point of this, right? It's the sort of adorable, because I saw one that was about big monster trucks or something, right? So
that was one of our first episodes, the monster trucks.
And I think it would be fabulous. We're gonna have to do this in a future episode. Have you come on and with your son Noah, and actually show how you make the next episode, and then we'll get 10,000 followers over there. So you guys make money off of that, and we're not making it off AITV Starship yet, but we'll monetize. You'll be an affiliate with us, right? Okay, so monster trucks from engineering feats to fandom. Okay. Oh, there's Max Velocity.
Yeah.
So let's hear this puppy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So who is giving you money if you did get it on Spotify? You're getting micro payments, I guess, from Spotify?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So if we wanted to listen to the episode, I'm just going to jump over here to, let me make sure I'm sharing with sound. I'm not. I need to share with sound. Sorry. Let me stop my screen share.
So this is pretty quick to do. If you pick something, how long do you spend on each episode, Brandon, now that you've gotten going with the whole, you set up your characters, you set up your backstory?
5 minutes.
Wow.
It takes me less time to build the episode than it does to listen to the episode.
So you're just sitting there producing. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So what is one of your most successful clients, Pierson, if you are allowed to say? How are they using the platform, and how successful is it for them?
Yeah, totally. So I'll share more broadly, but some of our most successful customers are those that are using JellyPod to kind of educate their potential customers about some products or some like educational content. So like consulting firms who want to grow, like real estate agents. You have real estate agent listings talking about homes. You have sales, medical device sales. Sort of like, how can we educate our sales reps on all these different products that they need to be aware of?
So how-tos, even security for HR at your company or onboarding. So technical program manuals can be made simple, turned into audio podcasts.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So here is the monster trucks from engineering feats to fandom.
Hey there, explorers. Welcome to Curious Sparks, the show where we dive into the coolest, most exciting topics that you love, like monster trucks and even Barbie dolls. Yep, it's all here. So here's how it works. Each episode is like a mini adventure. We uncover fun stories, discover amazing facts, and honestly, just explore together. And, well, I'm your guide on this wild ride. You can call me Max Velocity. But wait, did you know? Curious Sparks is all about you. That's right. Every time you tune in, you're helping me on this journey of discovery. Isn't it cool to think of yourself as part of this adventure? So, ready to ignite that curiosity and dive in? Let's go.
Oh my
No
goodness.
holding back. All right, explorers, let's get into the nitty-gritty. What makes a monster truck, well, a monster? First up, the engine. These things aren't your everyday car engines, oh no. Monster trucks are powered by massive supercharged engines that roar like lions.
Oh my
So
goodness.
that was one of my
Roar like
second
lions.
episode.
Okay.
But I want to tell you, just share you just briefly how far this has evolved since then.
Hey there,
There's some
explorers.
music now.
Welcome to Curious
We fixed
Sparks,
the audio.
show where we dive into the coolest, most exciting topics that you love.
It's the same
Did you
intro.
know? Curious Sparks is all about you. That's right. Every time you tune in, you're helping me on this journey of discovery. Isn't it cool to think of yourself as part of this adventure? So, ready to ignite that curiosity and dive in? Let's go. No holding back.
So
Hey friends,
you added the music.
Lost it here.
Oh.
And are you ready to catch some snowflakes of wisdom on Curious Sparks today? Because wow, we're talking snow. Why some snow is perfect for building mega snowmen and, well, other snow is just kind of a letdown. Have you ever rushed outside after a fresh snowfall, rolled a bunch of snow around and, uh-oh, it just falls apart? I mean, I've totally been there. There's actually cool science behind it, so let's dig in. Okay, so the thing that makes snow perfect for building stuff like snowmen is stickiness, but not.
And it goes on. You can
Oh
listen.
my goodness. So you
But
added
I'm
the
learning
music
things
how-
alongside my son. Yeah. So it just
Yeah.
I didn't know why some snow packed and some didn't, but just in the studio editor. So they make it really easy inside of the JellyPod editor to add intro music, add outro
Okay.
music. I've saved those assets, so I saved that music bit, the intro and outro, and in my library inside of JellyPod, and now I just add it, just to every episode.
So you have your bumper at the beginning and the end, you have your little voiceover, etc. And then
Yep.
could you put music behind as a bed underneath everything and duck and cover the sound?
Yep.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, we're going to create a lot of content for you guys.
Not
This
to
is
put you on the
super
spot,
exciting.
Pierson, but can you share a little bit of behind the scenes, what's on the roadmap for where your head's at in terms of where you guys are taking this thing?
Yeah, totally. I'll share a little bit here. I mean, so like our mission is to kind of accelerate the storytelling aspect, supporting. So like we support all these different source types. We support these different types of content you can create, mainly podcasts, but the creative control is like, that's our thing. Want you to be able to amplify your voice, do things that would normally take a lot longer, but accelerated with AI. So like in the near term, what we're looking to add is like, how can we get you to be able to create more quickly with the existing like platforms that you already are using. So maybe you can imagine us creating your JellyPod podcast on Slack via email. So that it can actually work with you as if it's a co-producer, almost like if you OpenClaw-esque, agentic, like living in the cloud. And then you say, hey, create a podcast for Creative Sparks. They'll just go and do that. And they'll say, hey, I created this podcast for you and go check it out on JellyPod. So that's kind of like where we're heading. And
yeah, I mean, I could see it integrated with all social media, especially LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
So the latest thing is people have these blogs, but having audio in the blog and having it just be a summary of what you're talking about. So I have these world-class experts that are talking about the shift in education towards different kinds of models and whatever, and guidance, et cetera. And they'll write this big, long treatise that's 20 pages long, and then they'll have it summarized as an audio file that's in the header so you can listen to it. And a lot of those are kind of already doing it. But if I want to just give you a short summary and I want a 10-second clip that summarizes what I'm posting, because no one wants to read, everyone wants to hear, and you can go jogging and have your RSS feed and you've got Brandon in your ear with his son making the podcast, right? So
yeah,
I think it goes everywhere, doesn't it? Anywhere that media can be repurposed.
Totally, I think so too. I think podcasting is.
And if it's on brand, if you think of every podcast is the brand of the Dangerous Man, then he has an ecosystem that has visuals, that has audio, so you can listen. You can take the Dangerous Man on the road and summarize all the episodes in a Cliff Notes version. Right. I love that idea.
Yeah.
So where do people go to sign up?
Yeah, just jellypod.com.
That's as easy as it gets, right? And then how expensive are we talking here?
Yeah, so you can try it out for free. Free users get 2,000 credits right now. So that usually, one credit is equal to 1 second of audio. So that's usually around 25 minutes, 20 minutes of generated audio.
Get your feet wet, see if it works.
Feet wet. Right. And then since we're more so targeting towards businesses, our tiers are $60 a month on the creator tier, and then it scales up to the business tier, which is $200 a month, and then paid annually. It's cheaper. You get discounts there.
Right.
And then we have enterprise plans for our enterprise customers. And so that's how you sign up, jellypod.com.
Okay.
Check it out. The creator and business tiers, and
I'm the voice of the folks at home. If Rick's too deep, I bring it down to the bone. AITV Starship. News deep dives and creation. AITV Starship. Learn. Laugh innovation. AITV Star. Human amplified. Say it loud. RTV. The future worldwide. Ask not what I can do for you, but what you can do with AI. We're the dangerous people who get stuff done. And show you can too. Imagine a beautiful world. With you, we can make it come true. AITV.